Welcome to the World Quiz Awards 2022. Tonight we celebrate competitive quizzing in all of its glorious variety, from winners of global titles to student teams in Africa. Here's what we've got for you tonight. We have got some recaps on international quizzing, online quizzing, and national and regional quizzing. And of course, we've got our awards. We've got Breakthrough Quizzer, Individual Performance, Competition of the Year, World Quiz Team of the Year, World Quizzer of the Year. And we have two other awards that weren't voted for by the public, although were nominated. We've got the Unsung Hero and the Special Recognition Awards. Now, don't forget, if you're not already following us, you can do on YouTube at All Things Quiz. We've got a new website. You're the first to know, www.allthingsquiz.com. So that's what you got to look forward to tonight. And I am joined by two fabulous guests tonight. The first needs no introduction, so I'm going to introduce her anyway. Victoria Groce is, for a short while longer at least, the reigning World Quizzer of the Year. 2021 was a spectacular year for her, and she's managed to have another great 2022 whilst also becoming one of the resident chasers on ABC's The Chase. She's known for her supremely broad knowledge, friendly personality, and her knitting. She is Victoria Groce. Our other guest is Lewis Jones, a relative newcomer to top-level quizzing, but in the past couple of years, he's become one of the best pop culture quizzers in British quizzing. On top of that, this season, he has captained the Sheffield University team on BBC's University Challenge. And I am Gareth Kingston, one of the founders of All Things Quiz. I'm your host tonight. And if you don't know what All Things Quiz is, check out our videos. We are a YouTube channel. We've been running for a couple of years. And why not give us a like and subscribe? But now, enough of the advert. I'm going to bring on Victoria and Lewis. Welcome both.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
It is great to have you. Victoria, you were the first ever World Quizzer of the Year. What did that feel like? What did that mean?
I was honestly, and my husband, when I was watching, can vouch for this. I was really stunned. And it was incredibly meaningful to me because this is the community that I kind of call home. You know, this is where I kind of feel at ease. This is what I do because I love it. And to have had people around the world say, hey, we noticed that you have done a lot of this and been good at it and whatever. It's incredibly validating. Like, it was very flattering.
Did you feel any pressure to follow it up in 2022 with equally good performances, or was there so much other stuff going on with your TV work?
It's been a little busy this year, hasn't it? Not so much pressure as, it definitely made me feel like, even more of an obligation to give back to the community. Just to try to, do a lot of stuff, participate in writing, reading, helping out, just whatever I can do to, grow the community.
And you have done some fantastic stuff. And as I say, you have been doing some writing, particularly in the OQL franchise in America. Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Lewis, welcome. Again, no stranger to All Things Quiz. What kind of a year was 2022 for you?
Great year. I think quizzing wise, I felt like 2021 was sort of my debut. I think I started getting into the online quiz stuff late 2020. And 2021, I grew into it, and I got to meet people and to enjoy different things, to start playing, to put my name out there. But I think 2022 was a great year of growth for me, certainly personally within quizzing, and one where I feel like I've broadened my horizons. I've done different things. I've explored different avenues. I've got a few jobs writing, for instance. I started hosting the Connections Online Quiz League, and just getting to know people more. Just getting to meet people particularly in person. I've done a lot more in-person quizzing this year, which has been so good. It's great knowing people on Facebook. The only reason I have Facebook really is quizzing now, because the community is so good, and just the amount of posts, the amount of intrigue. But having in real life quizzing events has been so good. And then obviously I was on University Challenge, which was an absolute dream come true. So yeah, it was a great year, a really great year. I think the community is just going strength to strength. It's getting better and better. I think obviously so much of what we know and the way that I got into it was because of what came out of lockdown, sort of almost out of necessity. But I'm so glad that even in 2022, when life went back to reasonable normality for a lot of people, even so, this hobby has not gone away. It's not that everything's gone back to in person. It's all still there. It's still growing. People are finding new things to do, new ways to explore, showing off their knowledge, meeting people, having fun. I think it's been absolutely fantastic.
Wonderful. And it has been great seeing people in the flesh, seeing what they look like from kind of the shoulders downwards.
I've got great legs. I want to show them off.
Yeah, you do. Bit disconcerting, but wonderful. So great. Yeah. Great. Your legs were not the disconcerting bit,
Good.
Lewis.
Thank you. Good to know.
So before we move on to the awards, there's a lot of news to recap. We're going to start off by recapping the news in international quizzing from the last year. International quiz competitions kicked off in April with the return of the Celtic Nations Championships in Dublin. Ireland, Wales and Scotland fought it out over a series of team, individual and pairs competitions. Jonathan Gibson of Scotland won the individual title. Mark Henry and Lorcan Duff won the pairs title. And once the round-robin team matches were complete, it was Ireland who were the overall champions. The World Quizzing Championships returned in June with players from 46 different countries competing, and for the first time, all genre scores would be counted. Once again, it was European players who dominated the top 10, including former world champions Ronnie Sviggers, Olaf Bjortomt and Pat Gibson, but it was two-time runner-up Didier Bruyere who took the title. Breaking the European monopoly on the top 10 were Victoria Groce and Steve Perry of the USA. Paul Paquet was the leading player from Canada. Outside the top 10, congratulations to everyone who top scored in their country. The top African scorer once again was Phil Tape Dixon of Liberia. These were the top scorers in each European country. Congratulations to Vadim Bondar for an outstanding performance in the city of Kharkiv, Ukraine. Into Asia and the Middle East, and Vinu Sanjay was the top Indian player and top player in the region. In Southeast Asia, David Nodora of the Philippines was the top scorer, coming 48th. Motorio Goshima of Japan was not far behind in 68th. Sri Balwant Patwadan top scored in Singapore, and Huang Yi was the top player in China. And finally, Issa Schultz was the top player in Australia, and Ewan Munro top scored in New Zealand. But wherever you came in the WQC, congratulations if you met or exceeded your expectations. In November, quizzers from around the world assembled in Berlin for the Ultimate Quizzing Championships, the successor to the European Quizzing Championships. The Nations Cup was won by Belgium, who beat Estonia in the final, while England beat USA to take bronze. In the individual competition, it was again a Belgium, Estonia, England 1-2-3, with Ronnie Sviggers taking gold, Carol Solmato taking silver, and Dowd Jackson winning bronze. The pairs championship was won by Victoria Groce and Kevin Ashman, with Tero Kalialevo and Ronnie Sviggers second, and Igor Habal and Carol Solmato third. The club championship was won by the New Janitors, a multinational team of Thomas Calasetta, Victoria Groce, Kevin Ashman and Thomas de Bock. The final international tournament of the year was the Asia Pacific Championships in Borneo. Team India took the overall title, with Australia second and Malaysia third. The individual title was won by Ross James of Australia. 2022 saw the return after COVID of several tournaments. We hope there will be more in 2023. There was a lot of news there to recap, and a lot of names that you might have to watch on slow motion as are popping up all over the place, particularly in that European segment. But Victoria, your name cropped up a few times. What is it about tough international quizzing that makes you fly all the way to Berlin for it?
So this is the first time I've ever done something. It's actually the first time I've ever been to Europe. But it was something that a lot of friends of mine here in the US have done. People like Steve Perry, Tim Hawley, and Shane Whitlock highly recommended. And I've just never been able to make it work before. So I was very excited to get the chance to go to Berlin and do that. It really was a great event. Mostly it's the fact that, like, the questions are so hard. And, you know, and it's not that they're hard because they're asking stuff that nobody cares about. They're hard because they're asking stuff that you want to know about, but it's broad. And it's one of my favorite things in quiz is to miss stuff and, you know, learn about it and feel like, hey, I've been exposed to this new thing that I've never heard about. And hey, I'm listening to this new musical artist or you know, whatever. So yeah, very glad I did that.
Wonderful. Lewis, you, as we established earlier, you're fairly new to this sort of thing, but you did take part in the World Championships. How did you find it?
I really enjoyed it. It's never going to be my best area. I think, I'm definitely known as a pop culture quizzer, and a lot of that is sort of parochial English weird stuff, which is not going to come up, sadly, on an international paper, understandably. But it's still something that I always, I test myself on. I like playing international competitions that have a lot of international players and have an international set online, such as MIM as well, or whatever. Because it feels like I'm always learning stuff. I'm always going to find new things. I'm always going to get things wrong that I know I should know by now and hear again. And to do that World Championship paper, which I did really enjoy. Didn't struggle. It was difficult, but I knew it was going to be difficult. But to even, I think I was top 300. But to be able to go provably, I'm top 300 in the world. It's something. That's still an amazing thing to do, and set myself a benchmark for future years. Certainly, it was a great experience, and I really cherish our monthly, in-person GP sets, and that having that one each year that is just that little bit different, that has that different vibe, is a really nice thing.
Yes, it is. And, the World Championships continues to confound and challenge and baffle. But it is, the one sort of proctor quiz all around the world. Everybody is playing in their own languages. It's, it's not predicated on a great knowledge of English, which some of the other quizzes are. It does, it does feel like the best test there is at the moment. Other tests happen online. And this is a review of online quizzing from 2022. Online quizzing shows no signs of slowing down despite a return to greater normality. We start with pop culture quizzing, the highly competitive nature of which resulted in no multiple champions this year. In America, the Pop Solos tournament was won by Dan Burgess, Daniel Cohen and Ben McIntyre, while on the other side of the Atlantic, the Pop Culture Challenge was won by Bob DeCoe and Michael McPartland. Straddling the border between the brows is Mimi as well, and there were 5 different champions this year, including World Quizzer of the Year nominee Pat Gibson. The International Culture Challenge was won by 3-time nominee Dow Jackson and World Quizzer of the Year 2021 Victoria Groce. It was a good online year for Pat Gibson, who picked up a win in Zadar Quiz League Season 2 and Fundesliga. Fundesliga, which is nominated for Competition of the Year, also launched the Flames competition in 2022 with a multimedia take on the Mimir format. Another multiple winner was World Quiz Awards nominee Patrick Friel, who won the inaugural BP Trivia Championship Series and the Learned League Championship. Jack Pollock was the individual champion at the Knowledge Facts Ladder Summer Festival, and Geir Christensen won the Quizcosh Champion of Champions title. In team competitions, Online Quiz League UK and Ireland saw Quiz Machine Kills Fascists become the first 3-time champions, and they promptly disbanded. Mangoes won the second League of the Year, while World Quiz Award nominees Pericardium won the final title of the year. In OQL USA, it was a case of more of the same, as Neutral MILF Hotel won the first title of the year and then morphed into Lawful Evil MILF Hotel and won the title. The Magnus and Trebek Trophy, contested by OQL and OQL USA, saw the dominance of Team USA untouched. World Quiz Award nominee The Connections Online Quiz League was dominated by World Quiz Award nominee No Hat Mafia of the USA, who remained peerless on home turf and beat their European rivals in the World Championship match. In Connections Online Quiz League UK, Crabs retired with another title under their belt, clearing the way for the Zoomsbury group to win the second Cockle title of the year. In the Knowledge Facts Ladder, the pre-Rafa Nadal Brotherhood won 2 seasons, while the Rolling Scones won the Summer Festival. Into the Quiz Nations arena, and World Quiz Awards nominee Astatine Hunger Force of the USA won the Quizzing World Cup, beating Australia Gold in the final. In Quiz Nations Asia Pacific, the first title of the year was shared between the XY Factor and Masoquists, while Quentin Quarantino were also champions this year. Manos Castro won in Portugal, Jaeger and Samler won in Germany. And in the Quiz Nations Champions League, North-South Divide were victorious. In the Asian Quiz League, the Premiership was won first by Motley Crue and most recently by 120 Days of Sodor. And lastly, in Ireland, Season 2 of the Irish Quiz League was won by A Tribe Called Quest. A busy and packed year of online quizzing. Details of all the competitions mentioned are now available on our website, www.allthingsquiz.com. So, lots and lots of action going on there. Look, as with everything, we've probably missed some because there is just so much action going on. So yeah, bear in mind for next year, folks, if we missed your competition or your result, then make sure that stuff is sent in to us at All Things Quiz, and then we'll try and make sure that we capture it for next time round. As I said, lots of action. Lewis, one of the big successes of the kind of COVID and post-COVID era has been Mimir competitions. What do you think it is about Mimir that makes it, catch the world's attention like it has?
I think a large part of it is the amount of time you are going to be answering the questions. The league format, which has been around for a long time, you cannot be answered 8 questions directly to you. You nearly double that with 15 in the standard Mimir format. And then with only 3 other players are going to, often, you're going to have a chance to answer. I think that's a big part of it. I also think that the range of questions that you get asked at the competitions and the ingenuity of so many of the setters in all the competitions, I think that's a massive thing. I think there's a real joy in a quad where going places you didn't expect, challenging in ways that you didn't know it would, asking things you'd never think about being asked. I think there's a real beauty to that. Having written a lot of quizzes this last year in various different formats, I just think writing a quad is just so much fun. I think just when it feels right, when you get that half of the 4 questions correctly. And I think people love playing it. And I think especially it's the range of competitions. I think the fact that we have had so many competitions splitting up into be the brows, be it international style, etc. I think that allows so many people to have a niche and have their area where they love to enjoy stuff. I think there's always going to be questions that are for everyone. I think particularly obviously I've done well in PCC, and so much of that is because I know there's always going to be stuff that I'm going to get that other people won't, that I'm going to have so much fun that it's been asked. I'm going to be delighted that thing's finally come up. And yeah, I think it's that variation that is the biggest part of it, and I'm glad that it keeps going strength to strength. I think also it's been massive because it works better online. I've obviously it was done in person with the person writing down bonus attempts with a pen and pencil. It makes so much sense to have the scorer right there. The scorer works perfectly. You can see exactly what it's doing. It makes it a more interactive game. You can keep a notice of stuff. I think that works really so well. And I think one of the big things this year, and I think. Was it this year? Whenever the Bundesliga guys create the plugin, massive. I don't think they're getting enough credit for exactly what they've done there. I think it's humongous how it's created a game that allows more people to be involved and to enjoy it. There's some people that their auditory processing isn't as good as how they read stuff. Having that there's been massive, and especially how they've increased with flames, pictures, sounds. It's so good. I think there's really just something for everyone in the Mimir format.
Wonderful. Now, Victoria, as we were going through that, you must have been thinking, played that. Won that. You play in competitions all around the world.
I do, which is something that was not possible before 2020, period. Yeah. A lot of this stuff didn't even exist, and even if it did exist, you weren't going to hop on a plane to do a weekly match in India or Australia. But I can play in the Asian Quiz League from Pittsburgh, and twice a month, I'm 7 a.m, I'm playing somebody from an entirely different country, which has been one of the coolest things that has come out of online quizzing for me. And all of these competitions have very different kind of flavors to them. Assembling teams for these different competitions is really a lot of fun, because it's not just a case of, okay, this person is the best player I know, so I want them for my team. It's, who is going to be the right mix of fun to play with and going to be good on this material and going to fill gaps, and there's going to be good team chemistry. And it's actually, I think your optimal teammates are different for almost every competition, which is very cool. It's really broadened. I counted at some point, I think I've been teammates with 60 different people.
Wow.
Since 2020 in live and online formal things, not to mention things like friendlies and one-offs. So that's been really cool.
Yeah, I mean it is amazing that you can dip your toes into a completely different quiz culture and a different quiz community just with an internet connection.
Yeah, like the Asian Quiz League questions are very there's a lot of kind of, it feels like cryptic crossword
Definitely.
to them. Yeah. Whereas something like KFL, to me, the hallmark there is just the breadth. Do I know about Swedish orienteering athletes? Well, I know one now.
Indeed, and who shouldn't know about Swedish orienteering? It does remind me of the second European Championships I went to, and Ken Jennings was just joking on his blog about being asked about the father of American beekeeping. It's like, well, this stuff is this stuff is out there, and it can be asked about. And but one of the things that is great is that there are different cultures within quizzing, and we've seen it online, but it also happens obviously face to face in different countries and regions. And we've now got a roundup of what's been happening more locally to people. We now turn our attention to those who made the headlines in their country or region in 2022, starting with Portugal, where Rodrigo Castro topped the Portuguese rankings. In Romania, Eduard Stan won the individual championships while Silmarils won the team championship. In Austria, Nicholas Martin ended the year on top of the rankings, and Franco Sotopietra won the Austrian Open. In Croatia, at the Mirko Mircic Memorial in Zadar, Croatia, Dejan Kotiga won the individual competition. The pairs were won by Dejan Kotiga and Perica Zivanovic, and the team was won by Johnny Kerkina for Mali Zus. Lucien Sosic finished the year top of the Croatian rankings, and in the mixed doubles championship, it was won by Librenjak and Mederal. In Serbia, Ivan Andonov finished top of the rankings and won the national championships. In Estonia, the individual championships were won by Igor Habal, the pairs were won by Ove Puda and Tano Valter, and the team championship was won by Where Are You Now, Ilmar? In Norway, Ole Martin Halk was the individual champion. Pairs was won by Øystein Ardnevik and Dag Fjellstad, and the team championship was won by Nerds of Steel. In Denmark, the individual championship was won by Flemming Borg Nielsen, and the team championship by Come On Feel the Clown Tits. In Germany, René Wassmer won the German Championship. The pairs was won by Sebastian Klusman and Sebastian Jacobi, and in the team championship, R2S2 retained their title. In Belgium, the individual championship was won by Tom Troch, and the team championship by Extremists. In the UK, Pat Gibson won the British Championship. He also won 7 Grand Prix events, the remainder being won by Evan Lynch twice and Didier Bruyere and Ian Bailey once. The British Pairs title was won by Pat Gibson and Scott Dawson. The British Buzzer Quiz was won by Once in a Lifetime. The OQL Buzzer Quiz was won by Quizbowl Cabal, and the QLL Buzzer Quiz by Hornets Rest. The British Student Championships were won by Cambridge A. These were the Quiz League winners in 2022. On TV, Alice Walker won Mastermind, Imperial College won University Challenge, and the Data Wizards won Only Connect. On radio, Frankie Fanco won Counterpoint, and Sarah Trevathan won Brain of Britain. In Ireland, the individual champion was Patrick Carthy, and the provincial champions were Munster. In Africa, it was all about the student quizzing. In the Génies en Herbe competition, Lycée du Saint-Esprit from Burundi won, and in the Liberian National Super Cup, Joseph Jenkins Roberts United Methodist School won. Onto India, and Maha Quizzer was won by Vinu Sanjay from Mumbai, winning the competition for the 4th time. In China, TV quizzing is the order of the day, and in the National Treasures Quiz, Wu Yunji took the title. In the ASEAN Regional Quiz for students aged between 15 and 18, Burma came first, Malaysia second, and Laos third. In Australia, the individual champion was Phil Denman. The pairs was won by Gordon McGregor and Aaron Mohan, and the team was won by Gordon McGregor, David Morgan, and Aaron Mohan. Mastermind in Australia was won by Sterling Coates. In the USA, Amy Schneider achieved the 2nd longest winning run in Jeopardy history and then went on to win the Tournament of Champions. In Quiz Bowl, the ACF Nationals were won by Georgia Tech and the NAQT by Stanford. Go to allthingsquiz.com to find links to the national associations mentioned in this video, and if your quiz organisation isn't mentioned, then let us know. We want to be able to report on it next year. I think what was notable for me when I was going through all of that is there are a lot of names I recognise and some of whom I played against, but actually there's a lot of really, really good quizzers who don't necessarily play on the circuit, and it would be absolutely wonderful if they did. But, it's fantastic that they're doing well in their own country. Now, Victoria, America has some quiz monoliths like Jeopardy, which is like an institution, and it's got a well-established student quiz bowl scene.
Mm-hmm.
More recently, online Quiz League USA has really taken off. But for some reason, national championships has never quite really caught on. Do you think that's something that might happen in the future, or is America just not temperamentally kind of geared up for it?
I don't think temperament's the issue. I think geography is the issue. There is nowhere in America that is central for everybody to get to, easy for people to get to, inexpensive for people to get to, and because of that, even when various competitions like SporkleCon ran an event in Washington D.C. this year, it was very well attended. It was kind of like, it wasn't really the equivalent of a national championships type event. There were a bunch of different quiz organizations like bar quiz companies, online trivia companies. They ran, a half-hour event here, half-hour event there, and then they did like a big event in the evening. IQA did one time run a U.S. championships, maybe 2017-ish. But I think the geography part's the hard part. It's even difficult to find places to run World Quizzing Championships. When it looked like there wasn't going to be a site locally to me, I ended up like taking a train 8 hours to go and play in Washington, D.C. this year. So, you've got to find a place that people can get to.
So
or
interesting. So geography, big problem in America, less of a problem in UK, Lewis. How have you found the face-to-face stuff this year?
Loved it. It's been such a joy. Like so many first Saturdays of the month spent in Chapeltown, one of the strangest of all the many suburbs of Sheffield. Going there every week. I don't always love the quiz. I think I've been quite outspoken in my problems, shall we say, with the GPs every month, and I hope they're problems that will be rectified in 2023. But going there on that Saturday with a group of friends has been easily the number one joy, quizzing-wise, of the year. Something I look forward to so much. And the way that this is only in Sheffield, but we've just massively expanded it through just a small group of people, mostly me, Jack and Danny, saying, hey guys, come along, it's fun. And it's not always fun. Sometimes it's being asked about questions about things from the 70s that you have no reason to know about when you're like a 19-year-old kid. They have no idea. But us being there, going to the pub, having a drink, making the day of it, so much fun. And I love that in-person community factor of it. We really enjoy it. It's going to be more difficult this year because the main thing we look forward to was that every time we went past, there was a bottle of milk. It was in a window. It was there every single month the whole year. And the first GP of 2023, it had gone. We imagine it had sprouted legs and moved and walked
maybe
away.
the resolution was to remove the milk from the window.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. We're going to get rid of that milk. But, just the sort of, even the humour in that, just looking forward to us going to see the milk every month. It's been so much fun. Really enjoyed it. And we've grown it to, like when I first went there, it was a room of people I didn't really know, but maybe just knew Jack and Danny. That's it. And now we've got to a situation where, over half the people in that room are people that we've encouraged to go, people that are younger than me, people, and, I think there's something really solid about like GP quizzing. There's something that really it matters. It's a real test. That it's a way to help you improve because it's just the massive questions being answered in that way. And to know that we're encouraging people into it has been really, really good. And also just, I loved going, not a lot of people have said this, and I know you must feel this way, Gareth, supporting the Cobblers. Not a lot of people love going to Northampton, but I had a great day in the UK Championships. It was in September. It was great. It was so nice to see so many people that I played nearly everyone at some point in that room on an online quiz, but to see them in the room in the day, to have a laugh, to make friends was a beautiful thing. And obviously it's a advantage of this country that we're quite small, and I have had to get up early to go to London, but it's not that far away really. And to have days like the British Student Quiz Championships, I think we finished something like 8th, I want to say 7th or 8th this year, which is massive. Sheffield, we're never gonna touch those Cambridge A's, I'm sure. But we had a great day. Me, Andrew, Danny, and Charlotte, and a brilliant thing to be part of. It's so nice to see people in person. It's so nice to make it tactile when it's we spend on screens to actually see people and to have the feel of paper. Especially now, if there's one thing I can give credit to the guys that run the GPs, the pictures have been in colour recently. it's been a massive thing, and to have that piece of paper with those bits in front of you is great. I really love it, and I'm really excited for what 2023 brings, especially with obviously OQL dipping their toe in the format game. Really looking forward to see how that turns out.
Well, the great thing about face-to-face quizzing, perhaps the online quizzing can't quite replicate yet, is when you do have a terrible day with the questions, the people around you in face-to-face quizzing can make that day still worthwhile. And for that reason, I think face-to-face quizzing is not going to go anywhere. It may end up changing a little bit, but face-to-face quizzing is here to stay, and we love it. Now, we have to move on to the awards. People want to know who's going to win stuff. We were deluged by nominations this year, so we formed an international panel to help us select the final list of nominees that people would vote on. We put it to a vote, and the community voted in their hundreds. In fact, it was 4 times as many votes this year than last year. So fantastic. Thank you for everybody who's voted. We verified the votes. So if you didn't respond to our little email, your vote didn't count. And we have counted the votes, and we have our winners. And we're going to start with Breakthrough Quizzer of the Year, which is for quizzers who basically took their quizzing to the next level in 2022. And here are the nominees. The nominations for Breakthrough Quizzer of the Year are Dow Jackson. Dow Jackson has been a rising star for a few years, but 2022 was a year in which he simply could not be ignored. He came 4th in the World Quizzing Championships, won the International Culture Challenge Season 3, was 3rd in the Ultimate Quizzing Championships, won the Under 30 title at the same competition, was 5th in the British Championships, won a season of Zadar Quiz League, and was also in teams that won the Knowledge Facts Ladder and came 2nd in the Ultimate Quizzing Championship Club Tournament. Chris Ottolino. In the words of one of the people who nominated him, Chris Ottolino has gone from being a decent player 3 to 4 years ago to one of the 30 to 50 best players in the world. He had a strong World Quizzing Championships coming 30th and strong Learned League and OQL USA performances, showing that he has strength across different formats. Amy Schneider. Amy hasn't been active on the quiz circuit, but she set America's premier TV quiz show alight in 2022. She completed the 2nd longest winning streak in Jeopardy history and then went on to win the Tournament of Champions. Fatima Sharif. Fatima was a member of the Imperial College team that won 2022's University Challenge. She impressed both with her knowledge and her personality. She went on to co-found the Connections online quiz team, the Zoomsbury Group, which won the competition. Kresimir Stimac. When you get to the upper echelons of quizzing, it gets harder and harder to improve your placings, which makes Kresimir's leap from 25th to 3rd in the World Championships all the more impressive. Central European quizzing is on the rise, and Kresimir is in the vanguard. Sarah Trevathan. Just 2 years after taking up quizzing seriously, Sarah had an annus mirabilis. She won the prestigious Brain of Britain competition, was 2nd in Mastermind, was a series finalist on the BBC Radio Music Quiz Counterpoint, and was promoted to an A Rundle of Learned League. To achieve all of that in the same year would be remarkable enough, but it was also a year in which she was treated for cancer. Shane Whitlock. Shane Whitlock has moved from very good to elite in the past year. He was 14th at the 2022 World Quiz Championships, and there was a big improvement in his OQL USA 2-point average. There is every reason to believe that there are great things to come from Shane. He is now poised on the shoulder of the best, ready to overtake. Max Zhang. Singaporean Max Zhang was the star of 2022's University Challenge Series. Initially recognised as being lightning fast as well as encyclopedic on all geography content, he proved himself to be a sublimely talented quizzer across the board. His exploits made the headlines back in his native Singapore, and it will be many years before memories of his play are forgotten. Okay, what do we make of the nominees for Breakthrough Quizzer? Victoria, you probably have come across Chris Ottolino and Shane Whitlock previously. Can you give us some insight into those players?
Oh, sure. Shane, I've known for almost 20 years now, actually. He plays on my Asian Quiz League team, and we played together in Berlin also. And I've definitely had conversations with teammates about Shane has gone beast mode. Yeah, great guy and fantastic player. Chris played OQL UK on a team with me. We attempted an All-American team for OQL UK that kind of fell apart due to, it turns out that when things are reopening, 3:00 in the afternoon is not an ideal time to be playing every week. But yeah, he is one of the people that I how the heck did he know that? And Pat Friel also, I've been a teammate of his and known him for a long time. He came out of Quiz Bowl in the United States like after I did. He's just so knowledgeable. So I mean, seeing these people here is great.
Lewis, what do you make of some of those nominees? There's some Max Zeng. How good was he?
Incredible! What a series that last series of University Challenge was, and yeah, without a doubt, such a standout player. To have someone dominate one area, especially an area that comes up so a lot as geography, was outstanding. He was so good. But I think it's a great list you've got there, Gareth. I think all these people definitely are more than due. Fatima, who is a delightful human being who's done so well across various things, someone I know that makes quiz feel a happier place, a more joyful place, a more inclusive place, which I think are all massive, important things. But of all the people in that list, I'm always voting for Sarah, who is the most wonderful human being. So kind, so fun. Just someone who's a delight to spend any time with, to play against. Always outstanding by the things that she knows. And the year she's had, with the ups and downs of it, is incredible. It's a hell of a story, and she's a wonderful human being.
Well, let us find out who is going to win the Breakthrough Quizzer of the Year. In fact, who the top 3 are. So let's watch this short clip. In 3rd place, Chris Ottolino. In 2nd place, Dal Jackson. And the winner, Breakthrough Quizzer of the Year, is Sarah Trevathan. Sarah is going to be a popular winner, isn't she?
Definitely.
You just kind of almost took the wind out of the sails there. But Victoria, you've come across Sarah, haven't you?
Absolutely, lovely human. Totally co-sign that. And listening to that Brain of Britain final, that was fantastic.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well done to her. We didn't really even touch on Dowd, who had a fantastic.
I have to say that no disrespect to anybody else whose name is going to come up this evening, but he is probably the single person that if his name comes up as my opponent, I'm like, well, not like anything negative personally at all. It's just I don't even have like, okay, I'm hoping that such and what comes up because maybe I'm better on that. Yeah.
With that, Dowd, he's terrifies me, Dowd. Just the amount that he knows across all subjects is brilliant. And also, it's that, like, it doesn't matter that he doesn't win this because he's going to win so many things for so many years to come. That it's terrifying. Also, it was great to meet him in person in a few different quiz competitions this year. I'd not before, where I really read sort of the humour in him a lot more than I had perhaps before. Delightful man.
Yeah, and Chris came 3rd, so well done to Chris. But of course, there have been so many brilliant performances in so many competitions. In a way, it's absurd to try and boil it down to 3, but that's what awards shows do. So and that's what we had to do. But Sarah will be a very, very popular winner, and congratulations to Sarah. We move on to Individual Performance of the Year. This award is for the best performance by an individual quizzer in either a single quiz or a single competition in 2022. And here are the nominees. The nominees for Individual Quiz Performance of the Year. Didier Briere. After 5 previous top 10 finishes and twice being the runner-up, 2022 was the year that Didier Briere won the World Quizzing Championships. Patrick Friel. In the Learned League Championship, Patrick missed only 2 out of 48 questions and outpaced the Learned League Championship field, which includes many top international quizzes, by more than 100 points. Pat Gibson. In 2022, Pat Gibson won his 7th British title. This took him past Kevin Ashman, who has 6 wins to his name. Dowd Jackson. In Season 3 of the International Culture Challenge, the finalists were Dowd Jackson, Victoria Groce, Anu Kashyap, and Jeff King. In a thrilling match that went down to the wire, Jackson pipped Kashyap to the title. David Stainer. In 2022, David Stainer won the Quiz League of London's Ashman Trophy. Named after Kevin Ashman, it recognises the player with the highest 2-point average across the entire competition. In this case, 322 other players, and notably pipping Kevin Ashman himself into 2nd place. Ronnie Sviggers. At the Ultimate Quizzing Championships in Berlin, Ronnie Swiggers was the leader after the first 10 rounds. In the final, he held off an impressive performance by Carol Samato to add the Ultimate Quizzing Championship to his previous world and European wins. Alice Walker. Retired IT consultant Alice Walker became the oldest female winner of BBC TV's most prestigious solo quiz, Mastermind, when she won it at the age of 66, and faced with a high calibre of opponents, she won it in style by 6 points. Okay, what do we make of our nominees there? Another fine batch.
Yeah.
Lewis.
Incredible selection of people there. I mean, it's hard to really, when you've got a group of people and you're saying these people have done well at quiz, and one of them's Pat. It's hard to really look at anyone else because it's Pat. Who is Pat? He's Pat Gibson. He's really good at it, actually. He's really, really good at it. But yeah, I'm glad that there's such a range of people being celebrated in that list. I know how much Stainer is delighted with his work there, and as he should be. Lovely man that he is. And I think having that nomination for Alice Walker is great because she was so good in that series of Mastermind. 3 great specialist subjects, very specialist subjects that she did so well on, and then to completely destroy the field really in that final was amazing. I played with her in the Merseyside League buzzer quiz in the season before that, and she was a lovely, lovely, lovely human being to spend the day with. So I was so delighted to see her get that big win.
Victoria, how about you?
I've played a lot of those competitions. So, I can tell you that some of the questions in particularly the Ultimate Quizzing Championships that Ronnie won, that was a just mind-meltingly difficult set that he came out ahead on. And for Didier to win World Quizzing Championships with all the adversity that he has had is really astounding. Really, I don't think there's really words for it.
Okay, well, let's find out who is the winner of Individual Quiz Performance of the Year, voted for by the quiz community and viewers of all things quiz. The winner of Individual Quiz Performance of the Year, in 3rd place, Patrick Friel. In 2nd place, Pat Gibson. And in 1st place, Didier Bruyere. I mean, in a way, it's kind of obvious that winner of the World Championship should win the individual performance. Ronnie Swiggers won it last year for the same feat. But I guess when you're against, Pat and you're against Patrick and the others, you don't take it for granted. But we feeling that's a decent showing, that top 3.
Oh yeah. I mean, really, I don't think there's a top 3 you could have picked out of that group that would have been like, really? But I am not surprised to see Didier win, and I think that, like, given just the size of that field, it's an order of magnitude bigger than really any other competition, and something that a lot of people train very specifically for. And because of that, I'm not at all surprised to see him win. I think it's very well deserved.
Yeah, Lewis, your reaction?
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, he's always up there. We know he's always up there when it comes to these sort of competitions. But to finally get over that level, especially, as Victoria said, the year that he's had, the things he's going through, massive. And massive congratulations to him.
Okay, well, the next award is Competition of the Year. And I know a lot of people are going to be watching this with great interest, because I think perhaps more than a lot of them, there's a lot of personal preference that comes into this, how you like your quiz. And we had some fantastic competitions that just didn't make it through to this shortlist. And we could have had a 30 competition voting list very easily, and that would have just been a nightmare. Nobody would have finished the voting. So let us find out about the competitions that did make it through to the nomination stage. The nominees for Competition of the Year are Connections Online Quiz League. Inspired by the BBC quiz show Only Connect, Connections Online Quiz League offers a very different type of team quizzing from anything else on offer. Spot connections and sequences, solve the fiendish grid, and race to spot the missing vowels. No wonder many former Only Connect teams take part. Fundesliga. Bundesliga was India's first Mimir format competition. It now attracts competitors from all around the world. In 2022, it added the Flames competition to its schedule with a decidedly pop culture feel. Flames standing for food and drink, film, fashion, literature, language, the arts, music, entertainment, and sport. International Culture Challenge. OQL's International Culture Challenge is the sibling competition to the Pop Culture Challenge. By the nature of its subject matter, it's accessible to players from most, if not all, nations, and that's reflected in the field of competitors. Mahaquizzer. The Karnataka Quiz Association in India has been running Mahaquizzer for 20 years, providing a tough written quiz that in the last decade has also been played at proctored venues internationally. Mimir as well. What started as the Brain of Quarantine competition early in 2020 has developed into a successful multi-season competition that became the model of operation that many other Mimir competitions have followed since. World Quizzing Championships. With 1,661 competitors in 2022, the World Quizzing Championships may not have quite recovered to pre-COVID levels, but it remains the largest written quiz in the world. In 2022, after many years of debate about its format, the WQC changed its playing rules to count all genre scores and do away with dropping your lowest genre. Ultimate Quizzing Championships. First there was the European Championships, then the Quiz Olympiad, and in 2022 the Ultimate Quizzing Championships emerged as a hybrid of the two. Though this 3-day multi-event tournament contained many of the same competitions as the European Championships, no European champions were crowned, and 2022 was notable for the first appearance of an African country in face-to-face intercontinental quizzing, with Liberia making the trip to Berlin. Lots of great competitions there. Does anybody have a favourite? You know, because you'll have played a number of those. Anybody have a favourite amongst those of the ones you played?
This is like choosing between my children. I'm so glad that you mentioned the Liberian team's odyssey to get to Berlin, because that was just, the amount of time and logistical effort that they had to spend to get there was just absolutely unbelievable. And meeting Phil and the rest of the team in Berlin was really lovely. I can tell you that the competition I voted for was I'm pretty sure it was Connections Online Quiz League, just because of what you said, because it is so different and the level of writing is so creative. It feels qualitatively very different, even though I'm not very good at it.
Have we found something you're not very good at, Victoria?
We absolutely have.
Okay. Well, I don't think you're going to get Lewis disagreeing about Connections Online Quiz League. Ooh. Because you're a presenter for it, Lewis.
I'm a host now. I'm a writer for it. Yeah, I think. I mean, it's the best competition. I think there's no doubt about that. I played the first 3 seasons, and then our team fell apart, and I'd had the offer to host, and I took it up. I was always impressed with it. I always enjoyed playing it, but seeing the other side of it, I'm even more impressed. I think it's just the full package. It's not just that the questions are good. I think Rob does such an amazing job, such a thorough job that I don't think people quite realise how much he does behind the scenes to do the editing, to make it all work, to make it perfect. But the system that Will has put together for how it plays is so good. It's just so beyond anything. When he was teaching me how to use it, I couldn't help but be impressed all over again, because it's such a good thing. And being a host is such a joy, not just because it pays quite well, but it's one of those things. Don't tell John, but I'd probably do it for free. But I get paid quite decently for what it is to have a really great time with various teams. I'm always up late, so occasionally I'll get to host some of the American games as well if they can't find a host. And just everyone that plays it from anywhere they are delightful, and we always have such fun doing it. I think it's a really special thing. These are all great competitions, I think I've, other than maybe 2, I think I've been involved in or played most of them. They all deserve their shot. Bundesliga, all of their work, like I said, the way they've evolved with the plugin, I think that's been such an important thing in the community. I've loved playing Flames the current season. they've got such a unique take on everything. It's so much fun. But yeah, I think Connections is the one competition. And I did one of my things that I do for OQL is recruitment. I do a lot of recruitment for the regular league, but also I did for the previous season some recruitment for the Connections League, and it was so much fun to be like, you're going to love this. You're seriously going to love this. Please come and do it. And yeah, people do love it. There's a reason. It's expensive. Sure, not that expensive, but it's a bit of money, but it's totally worth it because it is such a joy.
Per person per hour, it's really
That's it, right? Yeah, you break it down.
Yeah,
totally.
Before we reveal the winners, just want to ask Victoria a quick question. World Championships changed so no longer were we dropping the subject that we hated and could spot and just ignore and work on the other 3.5.
Yeah.
You had to work hard at every genre. What different? Well, A, do you think that was a good thing, and B, what difference do you think that will make going forward to how quizzes prepare?
It makes it much less likely that an American's ever going to win it. And it's because if you go to a sports bar and you meet an American who loves sports, they probably don't watch any athletics. They may or may not care about Formula One. They very well might not watch soccer. They almost certainly don't watch cricket. Most Americans only pay attention to American sports. And so there was definitely some consternation among Americans when that change was made. I heard a lot of grumbling from people. I grumbled less than some people because it's a little bit less of but it's definitely a tricky thing, to train for, especially if you hadn't been, if you've been either planning to drop sports or science, which are the two that generally people are like, okay, I can ignore this and work on everything else. You really had to change your approach to things.
Well, hopefully in years to come, the American quiz psyche will be all embracing when it comes to sport, and they
follow
will
Stocklish's example. All sports.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's lived in Australia and everything, so he's got a whole different outlook.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got a whole bunch of great competitions, and say that they are all fantastic, and there were ones that didn't make this list that were also fantastic, but these are the top 3. Competition of the year in 3rd place, World Quizzing Championships in 2nd place, Connections Online Quiz League, and in 1st place, competition of the year is Bundesliga. I think what I particularly learned, because obviously I can see the back end and all the votes and how things go. Bundesliga and Connections Online Quiz League seem to be the 2 competitions where people genuinely felt enthusiastic and kind of passionate about getting their votes in. And in terms of the numbers, were the 2 biggest. Well, obviously they were because they were 1st and 2nd, but actually by quite some margin. So I think, very, very, very strong winners. As say, Lewis, you were saying about Bundesliga, they've innovated and taken things forwed. And of course, there's an awful lot of people in India.
What?
And we shouldn't forget that. And they voted in numbers. And Bundesliga is a very, very strong winner. Connections Online Quiz League could be thought of as a niche quiz, but beat some really good opposition. Come second. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
for sure. It's so good to see it be recognised, I think, because it is so unique.
Good. Well, we're now going to move on to the Team of the Year award. This recognises the teams that put in outstanding performances in one or more competitions in 2022. These are the nominees. These are the nominees for World Quiz Team of the Year. Astatine Hunger Force. The international competition in the Quiz Nations franchise saw Astatine Hunger Force of the USA beat Australia Gold to win the 2nd Quizzing World Cup. The team is Victoria Groce, Steve Perry, Tim Polly, Yogesh Raut and Andrew Ulsberger. Belgium. Belgium went into the Ultimate Quizzing Championships as the reigning Olympiad champions. They were the top scoring qualifiers of the 20 competing nations, beat the USA in the semi-finals and then beat Estonia to win the gold medal. Their team was Nico Patin, Landa Fredericks, Ronnie Swiggers and Tom Troch. Victoria Groce and Kevin Ashman. One of the most hotly contested competitions at the Ultimate Quizzing Championships was the pairs competition. Kevin Ashman of England teamed up with Victoria Groce of the USA. After 100 questions, they were the champions, 4 points clear of second place. India. The Asia-Pacific Quiz Championships returned after a COVID-enforced hiatus, and teams from India, Malaysia, Singapore, Australia and the Philippines converged on the island of Borneo. The winning nation was decided by a composite of multiple competition results, and the champions were India. Their team was Rajiv Udupa, Sanya and Brajendu. Lawful Evil MILF Hotel. Whether they are Neutral MILF Hotel, as they were for the first OQL season of 2022, or Lawful Evil MILF Hotel, as they were by the end, the MILFs are unstoppable, having now won the last 4 OQL USA championships. Their team is Brandon Blackwell, Susanna Brooks, Victoria Groce, Troy Meyer, and Andrew Ulsberger. No Hat Mafia. No Hat Mafia have won 3 out of 4 seasons of Connections Online Quiz League USA, including both 2022 seasons. On top of that, they took on the best of Connections Online Quiz League Europe to win the World Championships. They are Brandon Blackwell, Andy Kravis and Jun Pak. Pericardium. For many years, Pericardium were the nearly team of the Quiz League of London, struggling to take the top spot. But on a thrilling final day of the 2021-22 season, Pericardium won their first title. Relatively new to Online Quiz League, Pericardium achieved a unique double when they won Season 8 of OQL in November. So Victoria, you pop up a few times there. Firstly, Susanna Brooks has told me how much you like the fact I have to say MILF quite a lot in various online streams. So yeah, thanks for that. But actually, to be fair, compared to that Danish team from earlier,
I was trying to stay very professional. I think I failed. We are also changing our alignment for next season, so we are going to be chaotic good.
Well, I mean, this is going to be like, The Wire changing its theme tune every season.
There you go.
We're going to have to rate the names. And
chaotic good feels the most accurate for you as a group of people.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, deep in our hearts, as I told Steve when I put forth the league, the alignment change, I said, deep in our hearts, we have always been chaotic good. Yeah.
But you were involved in some successful teams. Astatine Hunger Force, which was right at the kind of tail end of 2021 into 2022.
Yes.
Pairing up with Kevin.
That was a
Ashman.
fantastic experience. Yeah, he was wonderful to play with. I mean, unsurprisingly, but lovely person, and of course, amazing player. So that was, basically, for me, I get to ride some very long coattails and then also get beaten by several of these other teams. I lost very badly to No Hat Mafia, and we got fully dismembered by Belgium in Berlin. It was not close.
Some great teams that you've been involved in, and some great teams you played. Lewis, anything else that you'd like to bring up about those teams that we saw?
There's two things that we can see here. A, Victoria's quite good. That's the main thing I learned from that group of teams. And secondly, the Americans have really cornered the market on the good team names. It disgusts me when I'm looking at the OQL team names every week. How many people still have team names based on the fact that there was a quarantine? It's over, guys. Move on. Come up with something new. Move away from it. But every American league, the names genuinely get a laugh out of me.
I think part of that is because there's a big one name one upping culture in both like Quiz Bowl, like for like crash tournaments, and in bar trivia here. There's some cachet in having a really good team name, and I think that translated into when American.
Oh, most definitely. It's been I've really enjoyed when I've hosted the American Connections League games, finding out that so many American teams have decided to name themselves so that they get to call heads or tails because it's alphabetically first. Who gets to call it? Like, there's some team that their name starts with 4 semicolons, and apparently that's first alphabetically. Okay, you're right. That's 100% a thing. Whereas in this country, people are very happy to call themselves Quizzy Rascals and not think about it.
I guess Americans feel very strongly about being able to pick the hedgehog.
Yeah.
You're right. Americans are they win the World Championship of team names. That's for
No
sure.
doubt, no doubt.
But let's see who gets the award for World Quiz Team of the Year. World Quiz Team of the Year. In third place, Asta Teen Hunger Force. In second place, Belgium. And in first place, India. So India don't get many opportunities at international quizzing. A lot of their stuff is done either online or locally. So it's really interesting that when the Asia Pacific Quiz Championships happen again in Borneo, that they put a really good team in, and it's a multi-format competition. So lots of different mini competitions, and all the points kind of add up. So kind of a different win, but again, I think a strong winner. Victoria, third place for Asta Teen Hunger Force. You've probably forgotten about that game now. It's so long ago.
No. Yeah, that was. We were playing an Australian team who had beaten Broken Warriors the week before, and it was just a really great team that we got to play against. And I don't have much else to say.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm very honored. Thank you.
Lewis, your reaction to that?
You can't beat him, can you? With India, there's a lot of them.
We established that earlier.
Yeah, we've established it. They've got an advantage there. But yeah, congratulations to them. I know you're right. It's a challenge for I think we in this country we find it very easy to go, hey, we're going to do quiz stuff because everyone's nearby. Celtic nations every year. It just happens. That's not possible for a country, particularly in the global south. So good and exciting that they can have these big things happen.
Yeah, these are the World Quiz Awards, and
Exactly.
India are a big part of the quiz world. So congratulations to India. Now, Victoria, I am going to pop you into the waiting area just until we announce the winner of the next award, just to spare your blushes. But we will see you again soon. Okay, so the next award is for World Quizzer of the Year. This is the big one, World Quizzer of the Year. Gone are the days when national boundaries place limits on quizzers. All of the quizzers nominated tonight have performed strongly in multiple competitions. Let's meet the nominees. The nominees for World Quizzer of the Year 2022 are... Didier Briere. In 2022, Didier Briere won the World Quizzing Championships, came second by a single point in the British Quiz Championships, and came 10th in the Ultimate Quizzing Championships. Pat Gibson. Pat Gibson had a very eventful 2022, winning the British Quiz Championship, the Mimir's Wells Snowdrop League, 2 seasons of Bundesliga, the Zephyr Quiz League Season 2, the Zadar Quiz League, 7 United Kingdom Grand Prix wins, and finished 9th in the World Quizzing Championships. He was also a member of the Motley Crew, who won back-to-back Asian Quiz League titles. Victoria Groce. The 2021 World Quizzer of the Year had another successful year. Solo victories may have been slightly thinner on the ground, the highlight being winning the International Culture Challenge Season 3, but Victoria was always a contender, and in team quizzing she cropped up everywhere. She won the Ultimate Quizzing Championship Pairs and Club Championships, she was in the Winning Quizzing World Cup, Online Quiz League USA and Quiz Nations Asia Pacific teams, and was a top-placed American at the World Quizzing Championships. Dow Jackson. Dow Jackson came 4th in the World Quizzing Championships, won the International Culture Challenge Season 3, was 3rd in the Ultimate Quizzing Championship, and won the Under 30 title at the same event. He also won a season of Zadar Quiz League. Ronnie Swiggers. Ronnie Swiggers continued his strong form in the toughest international contests. He won the individual title at the Ultimate Quizzing Championships, as well as being a key member of Belgium's Nations Cup winning team. And he backed up his 2021 win by coming 5th in the World Quizzing Championships. Sarah Trevarthen. It was a good year for women in UK broadcast quizzes, and Sarah in particular. She won the 2022 Brain of Britain title in an all-women final, was the mastermind runner-up to Alice Walker, and got to another all-women final on Counterpoint. She competed in a number of other competitions and earned promotion to an A-Rundle in Learned League. I mean, what can you say about that list of players, Lewis? It's just phenomenal quizzes. Obviously, Victoria has stepped out, so we can talk about Victoria. But she's a fantastic quizzer.
Amazing. Always. I've always admired her before I got to know her the little bit that I do. I think she is such an inspiration, that she can be so disgustingly good, but so incredibly nice and kind. Like, she sent me a message. She didn't have to when I was on Universe Challenge, and she's like, was like, that was so close, you know. And to get any word like that from someone who you can't help but just admire and think is incredible was it was extremely touching. And just someone you always love to see, love to succeed. And it's so great to see her on The Chase. She's on The Chase now, a big American version of The Chase. And you know, you always want to see the people you like do well and succeed and go on to great things. And it's such a joy to see that for her. But I mean, everyone on this list is someone that I've interacted with in smaller or larger ways. Admire, respect, and love to be part of this community. So they'll be very good winners if they do win.
Yeah, I think we probably talked about everybody one way or another on that list.
Yeah.
So, sorry?
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. So I won't recap what we said about amazing things about how brilliant Dowd or Pat or whatever. I mean, just a brilliant list of quizzers. Let us find out who the 2022 World Quizzer of the Year is. And now the World Quizzer of the Year. In third place, Victoria Groce. In second place, Pat Gibson. And the World Quizzer of the Year 2022 is Didier Bruyere. Now let me bring Victoria back. Congratulations, Victoria, on third place. I mean, having won it last year, you happy with that? Stay on the podium?
Oh my God! In that field, yes. I was honestly surprised to be nominated, like genuinely. So it's really an honor to be voted for by anybody. And Didier and Pat are incredibly deserving. The years they've had, just spectacular.
Yeah, Lewis. I mean, Didier obviously world champion, but Pat had such a multifaceted.
Pat is amazing. Like we all know Pat. He's an egghead. He's Pat from Eggheads. But there's that multifaceted Gareth. To see him completely destroy the field in Bundesliga. Yeah, they have a good chunk of quite Indian content. Doesn't matter. Pat knows it. He always knows it. And to see him, I was sat. He was to my sort of like 10 o'clock. As I was sitting at the UK Championships, and just seeing his thoroughness, the way he had like different tabs, keeping an eye on things. Great to see. Incredible human being, incredible quizzer, inspiration. But yeah, I mean, what a field! Anyone could have won this. It's all incredibly strong. Big, massive congratulations to Didier. As we said, world champion this year, massively deserves it.
Yeah, I think it's incredible when you're sat in the same room as these people, as I was as well in that wonderful town, Northampton, for the British Championships. And you look across and you see Didier and you see Pat and you see other former winners, and you're playing the same questions in the same environment as you, and they are spanking you. You realise quite how brilliant these players are. So yeah, congratulations to Victoria, congratulations to Pat for coming second, and congratulations to Didier being World Quizzer of the Year. Now there are two more awards for us to get through before I can let you all go home. Firstly, Unsung Hero. Now we asked for nominations for Unsung Hero, and this award is voted for by members of All Things Quiz. For £3 a month upwards, depending on what tier you want. You can become a member of All Things Quiz. Go to patreon.com/allthingsquiz to find out more. Now, from the nominees, our members voted for... Oh, I've got the little jingle. I'm not going to play the little jingle because I didn't animate the result. So, from the individuals nominated, our members voted for Chris and Brendan Curtis and the Tea Time Trivia team. Now, Tea Time Trivia started during the first COVID lockdown, providing daily speed quizzing via Zoom. It grew from being a group of UK quizzers to having international attendance, including, I believe, Victoria, amongst others. And even though the world has started getting back to normal, Tea Time Trivia still opens its Zoom room on a Friday for people to simply talk. Quiz is about questions, of course, but it's also about people, and Tea Time Trivia looks after its people. Our members voted for Chris, Brendan, and everybody who's been involved in running Tea Time Trivia as Unsung Heroes. Congratulations to them. Victoria, your thoughts on that award?
Oh, I was so delighted when you told me about this, because it was such a social and kind of intellectual lifeline during like the early lockdown days. I did it for probably about a year, basically until things kind of started to open back up, and just got too busy with work. But everybody was always very welcoming and really just quite lovely, and always, very fun questions, always, and the amount of administrative work it takes to do something like that. Brendan and Chris have been just so generous with their time and, with maintaining the tech on the back end to make everything work. It's a wonderful thing. And I was so delighted to hear about this award.
Yeah, massively deserved. They're delightful people. There's such a I've not played for a little while Tea Time Trivia. I will drop in again at some point soon because it's so much fun.
It is.
But it's such a unique, supportive community, and the sort of, again, it's the humor of it. I love. There's so many sort of like weird little in jokes that people vincing. I love that stuff. It's such a great thing. And so many nice people, and the people 2 times a week people volunteer. They do their own sets, and they're always so good to have that be a thing where people can sort of test their writing skills.
Yeah.
I love having the handicap system. There's such a range of people in there. It's a beautiful thing.
Okay, well, congratulations to them. And now we move on to the final award of the evening, the Special Recognition Award. This is a new award, and it's in the gift of all things quiz. Now, we take into account nominations that are sent in, but it's basically our decision who gets it. No voting. This is the dictatorship part of the evening. Now, in the case of this year's recipient, there was a lot of support for recognizing their contribution during the toughest of years. And here's a bit more information. This year's Special Recognition Award winner has made a big impact in a short period of time. In 2019, he established High-Low Quiz, and then in 2020, when COVID derailed the world, he established the Knowledge Facts Ladder, a competition with World Championship level questions for the very best quizzers in the world. Knowledge Facts Ladder was going from strength to strength until February 2021, when Russia invaded his home country of Ukraine. At that point, KFL went on hiatus, until a couple of months later, he was able to restart it. He told us he felt guilty that people weren't getting what they paid for, and so he extended people's memberships or gave them refunds. People who sent in nominations to us for the Special Recognition Award told us that they were just blown away by how he managed to keep providing brilliant quizzing despite being in the worst of all possible situations. And so, for his determination to keep providing quizzing despite living in a city under bombardment and in a country that's been invaded, and to show that the quiz community supports him and supports his country, we award Vadim Bondar the Special Recognition Award, and we spoke to Vadim about it. And a lot of the KFL players nominated you for keeping things going over the course of what you've been through this year. So far from wanting money back or expecting things, they wanted to express kind of their gratitude, and for that reason, you are kind of the recipient of one of our Special Recognition Awards for continuing to support the quiz community when you're going through the worst of situations. And people wanted to kind of show their solidarity as well with you, that we can't go through what you're going through, but by giving you this Special Recognition Award and saying we the quiz community appreciate what you've done, and we show our support for you.
I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for everyone who voted, who nominated me. Yeah, I appreciate this. Too many words for me from All Things Quiz. You put me to the pantheon last year. Now you're recognizing me.
Don't expect this. Don't expect this every year.
Yeah. I do not expect it. I will tell these guys. I appreciate it. For sure.
He's a humble man, and we will be publishing a full interview with Vadim in due course. But if you want to join Knowledge Facts Ladder, either find it on Facebook or email knowledge.facts.ladder@gmail.com. He's a remarkable chap, and funnily enough, well, we went on Zoom to record that, and whose internet failed? Mine. Not the guy in Warzone, but the guy in the UK with super fast broadband. But these things happen. But lovely guy. What was meant to be a short chat turned into a very wide-ranging long chat. He was genuinely surprised that people would even consider nominating him. Very, very humble. Almost to the point of embarrassment. Victoria, you've played KFL. What's your experience of KFL and Vadim?
I love KFL. I love Vadim. I evangelize it to anybody that I think will enjoy it, which is a lot of people. It's very high difficulty questions, but it's also very high quality and high interestingness. The quantity of writing he does is unbelievable. Like most weeks, there is a specialist subject matter live quiz. There are Champions League questions like every month live. There are, the monthly 66, 22, 11 quizzes, which are like different kind of difficulty levels. So there's a huge amount of opportunity for live quizzing as well as daily questions delivered by email. And I have a group of friends where every evening we, kind of are texting each other about like, how did today treat you? Or, I was really proud to get this one. It's really a phenomenal achievement of quiz writing and quiz league running. And I love it, really do.
And would be an achievement if your home city wasn't being bombed and, one of his co-writers is in a city that's currently under occupation and he's not in contact with him. So, I mean, it would be an achievement anyway.
An achievement for anybody. And under the circumstances that he is working under, it is truly remarkable. So anybody who wants to support it, I highly recommend the league. And we're scheduled to start back up this week. So if you're interested in getting involved, look them up on Facebook and give it a try because it is definitely worth your time.
Thank you. Yes. So congratulations, Vadim. We feel it's very, very richly deserved. He may not have been involved in quiz as long as a lot of people, and he kind of felt like the newbie, but he's made a big impact and he's done it against all odds recently. And we wish him well with news today of fresh bombardment. We wish him well, both in life and in his quizzing escapades. So there we are. All of the awards have been given out. Thank you to Victoria and Lewis for joining us tonight. Thank you to you for watching. If you want to find out some more about tonight's nominees and winners, we've got a playlist on All Things Quiz of some of the videos that they appear in or have appeared in. Thanks to everyone who voted. Without you, these awards would not be possible. Congratulations to everybody who made the shortlist for the awards, and particularly to the winners. But if you didn't make it onto the shortlist, that does not invalidate the brilliant stuff you did over the course of the year. There's just way too much for us to get into a show like this. That concludes the World Quiz Awards for 2022. Now onwards with the quiz action in 2023, and we will see you again next year to chew over some other fantastic performances. Goodbye.
Bye.